Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead, where today's video is all about cooking off grid on our Camp Chef camp stove. That's 2 camps. And it is a propane piece of equipment. And there, of course, is a downside to off-grid cooking with propane, and that is if our propane supplies are no longer available, then that piece of equipment is dead. And it does not have an alternative to do it with electricity that we could then run it on our solar generator, our Blue Eddy. Therefore, we have and practice redundancy. We are showing in this series a number of ways that we can cook off grid. This might be my favorite way because it so resembles what is right here in my own kitchen, and I don't have to adjust recipes and they turn out pretty much the same. Today we're going to be using both the oven and the burner on the top, and I'll introduce you to that stove in just a minute. First, here's what we're having for breakfast, and I'm just going to demonstrate a very common breakfast. I have made a batch of biscuits and put it in a small pan because it's a small oven, and this recipe is on page 56 of our bread book. I'm going to put these in the refrigerator so they can chill for a little bit while the oven is preheating. We'll be having biscuits and ranch eggs. I make ranch eggs with 4 eggs, a handful of cheddar cheese, and then some salsa. And this time I'm using store-bought salsa, but we also have plenty of homemade salsa that I also use. And then we're going to have some bacon. Now, because I am trying to do better on my weight management, I'm going to forego the bacon, but Jim loves it so much, so I'll be cooking some bacon for him.
5 or 6 pieces.
Five or six pieces of bacon for Jim, because he's such a bacon lover, and he's chuckling. And so, the thing about Jim, one of the things that I just love, is he makes a joke, and then he just chuckles at himself, and it's I love it.
I thought I was a straight man.
We're going to be doing our cooking on the top burner in this 10-inch cast iron skillet. We'll pick up the video out at the camp stove just as soon as we are ready to put the biscuits in the oven. Here is the camp oven. We really do like this. It has this nice little oven. I'm going to go ahead and put the biscuits in. It is registering 428. I have an alternative thermometer going. This one has not been as reliable, right? But it seems to be working better today. It was registering up over 400, so that should be right. So we have about 20 minutes now to fix the rest of breakfast. I have my 10-inch on this burner. The burner is going. So I'm going to go ahead and start the bacon, and we will come back when we have something new to report. Bacon is done, and I'm about to put the eggs in. Everything is mixed together right here, the cheese and the salsa. And I'm just going to pour them right in. I wiped the bacon grease out of the skillet, leaving just enough so hopefully the eggs won't stick. Biscuits should be done shortly, so we'll be back very soon. Here we are, breakfast is ready, so I'm going to go ahead and dish it up. I like about 1 egg. And Jim, here is your 4 pieces of bacon.
Okay.
Yeah, are you happy?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The biscuits are very done, but they didn't brown super well, but they are done. They're just starting to brown on the edges, which is just great. And they really did get high, so that's really nice too. And then I did prepare a little fruit bowl for us to go with our breakfast with a dollop of Greek yogurt, which increases the protein, has high nutrient density, as well as the eggs do. And so we're going to enjoy our breakfast, and next up is lunch. Time for us to prepare lunch on our outdoor camp oven. We are going to do ham and cheese lunchbox muffins. I wanted a recipe. I looked all over the internet for a recipe that was self-contained like a muffin is, that Jim and I might be able to put in a plastic bag and put in the back of our four-wheelers so that when we're out on the trail we could have a nice lunch without having to cook anything. And these muffins really do meet those criteria. It is an online recipe, and I will be putting the link in the description below so you can make it. Now, I always do things just a little bit differently than the recipe is, but the recipe, if you follow it exactly, you'll be just fine. I have in this bowl the dry ingredients. It calls for 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I don't keep fresh buttermilk. I use my freeze-dried buttermilk, so the buttermilk flakes are in here. You can probably see them. In this bowl, I have the wet ingredients. That includes 1.5 cups of water for the buttermilk powder, eggs, and it's butter, and it's a couple things. I'm just going to go ahead and pour the wet ingredients into the dry. Includes a couple of eggs. And I'm going to just stir this gently barely until the dry ingredients are incorporated. Looks like it's about right. I'm going to put in just about half of the ham, a little bit more than half, all of the cheese, and about half of the chives. This is very savory, and the cool thing is that it does not ask for any sugar. So there's no sugar in this. I'm gently folding these ingredients together. It's a pretty dough.
I've not heard of dough being pretty.
Well, here's your first opportunity to see a pretty dough.
I guess.
I made the full recipe without remembering that our little oven out there works best with just the half of muffin tin, so 6 muffins. But I have dough for 12. So I am going to put one of these in my regular oven. This will give us an opportunity to compare how the 2 different ovens do. I'm just going to fill these muffin cups, and we'll come back when I've done that. Directions call for us to come back and put some extra ham right on the top of each muffin. I probably have enough for 3 for each, but I'm starting with 2. A few chives over the top. These chives are from our own garden. And half a teaspoon of butter over the top of each one. All right, I'm going to put one in this oven, and I'll meet you out at the outdoor oven. All right, here we go. The thermostat says that it's over 400 degrees in there. I don't believe it. I have the external thermostat going, and right now it says that it is 342. So we'll be watching these bake for 20 to 25 minutes. I've set my clock, so we'll be watching. Generally, it takes this one a little bit longer to get things done than it does my kitchen oven, but this will be a good comparison. So we'll see you when they're coming out of the oven. They're out. This is the one that came out of our outdoor camp oven. This is the one that was done in the oven in here. These are just a little bit more brown. They took 5 minutes less to cook than these did, but they are both beautiful. These are the prettiest things. They started with pretty dough, Jim.
Yeah.
And they're so sturdy. I'm going to pick up one of these. These are a little cooler. They're really, whoops, that piece of ham fell out. They're very sturdy. They would be great for lunch boxes. They would be great for us to take with us on our four-wheelers. And they would be really great for a really nutritious lunch. Let's see if I can get one of these out and put it over there. This is 10 grams of protein, 10 grams of protein, and 12. I'm shooting for 30 grams of protein per meal. This would be a perfect lunch for me. And so they're very, very versatile. I'm just going to set that aside for now and open one, and let's give it a little taste. Comes off the paper really easy. Because there's garlic powder in here, our house now smells like garlic. Those are really good. There's cornmeal in there along with regular flour, so they have a nice density. And of course, with the cheese and the ham in there, these would need to be refrigerated if you don't eat them all after they come right out of the oven. Here we have our wonderful lunch with our ham and cheese lunchbox muffins that we baked outside on our Camp Chef camp oven. So next up, supper. Wait till you see what we're going to have. It is nearly supper time, and we decided, since we already had the camp oven out, that we would do supper in the same day that we did lunch. We enjoyed our lunch, but one tip we want to pass along to you that we learned as we ate our lunch was that those little ham and cheese muffins do not come out of the paper as easily as I thought they were. So you might want to spray your muffin tins instead of putting papers in, or maybe the silicone cups if you have them. Today, for our supper, we are going to do another recipe that I found online, and the recipe will be posted, the link, down in the video description. It is called lemon, thyme, and potato chicken, and it says sheet pan recipe. I have my small size sheet pan, and I have lined it with a piece of parchment paper. I have 2 chicken breasts here. The recipe calls for thighs. I'm using breasts. And I have some red potatoes. In this bowl, I have the spices and the olive oil that are listed in the recipe. Over here, as often as I can for any recipe that I do, I will use things from our food storage. This happens to be a jar of freeze-dried lemons, and they are wonderful. When I took the lid off, both Jim and I whiffed a big whiff, and it was heavenly. We love the smell of lemon. This is some lemon zest that I dehydrated months ago, and these are 4 of the lemon slices here that I have rehydrated. Those will also go in. Now what we're going to do is to drop the meat, the potatoes, and the lemons. Separate these slices. And these are in place of lemon wedges. And then we are just going to coat everything with the spices and oil. The fresh thyme is from our herb garden over in the bay window. And then we're going to just dump the whole thing right out here on this sheet pan. And we want every bit of the spices and oil that we can get, so I'm just gonna, there wasn't much left. And this sheet pan meal is ready for the camp oven. As soon as it gets up to temperature, which is 425, we will meet you out there and get this in the oven. I'm very excited about this sheet pan dinner. It just looks delicious. It smells great. It will bake for about an hour. So let's get it in. The oven is up to temperature. All right, we will be back when it's coming out of the oven. We just took it out of the oven. It smells beautiful. No, it looks beautiful and it smells fantastic. So I'm going to put a couple of these on Jim's plate. And one on mine. And then I'm going to get some potatoes. I'm going to remove the lemons. They've done their thing, so they can just go right here in the trash. And this one as well. I think that I will leave this much, which will be a nice little lunch for one of us. And I'm going to sprinkle it with some fresh parsley from our herb garden, according to the recipe. I really love parsley potatoes too. We are ready to have our supper, and I'm going to take a little bit of a bite. The chicken is very good. It's done. It's tender and moist. The spices, and especially the black pepper, give a really good taste to it. Let me get a little potato here. Perfectly done. I will be adding a little bit of salt to that. The same flavor that was on the chicken carries over to the potatoes, even though the potato taste is very distinctive. This is a very nice and a very fast supper. It goes together very fast. It's carefree. We just put it in the oven. And it is very evident from my perspective that that little camp oven can do pretty much anything that our large oven can do, just on a much smaller scale, and it would work very, very well for off-grid cooking. So thank you for being with us for this video, and we'll see you very soon for another video.